Many Filipino parents don't know that a lot of babies are born with a condition called G6PD deficiency. It sounds scary, but it's actually very common. About 1 in 63 Filipinos has it, and with the right knowledge, it's easy to manage. Today, we want to explain what G6PD deficiency really means and how you can keep your child safe.
G6PD deficiency happens because of a small change in a gene that affects an enzyme called glucose 6 phosphate dehydrogenase. This enzyme has an important job. It helps produce substances in the body that can protect red blood cells from damage. It does this through the pentose pathway, which helps activate glutathione that destroys free radicals. When this enzyme is lacking, your red blood cells lose some of that protection and can break more easily when they are attacked by free radicals.
Free radicals are very unstable particles in the body that can harm red blood cells when they interact with each other. By the time babies with G6PD deficiency are born, their bodies are missing the G6PD helper protein that helps protect their red blood cells. Our red blood cells carry oxygen to all parts of the body. Without this helper protein, red blood cells can break easily due to the free radicals. This is known as hemolysis. However, when many red blood cells are destroyed, the body sends them to the liver to be broken down. This produces bilirubin, a yellow pigment. If too much bilirubin builds up, it can accumulate and appear as a yellow discoloration in the skin or the sclera of the eye. This is seen in jaundice or yellow babies. So how does this all work? Think of G6PD as the firefighter in charge of putting out a house fire. In our case, the child's red blood cells are small houses in a barangay, and the free radicals are the fires. Normally, these fires are so small that the body can put them out easily, like blowing out a candle. But sometimes, the fires get bigger, especially during infections or when exposed to certain triggers. When that happens, the body needs to use a lot more water to put out the fires. The water in this case is glutathione, which can remove the free radical fire only when pumped by a hose called NADPH, which is brought by our firefighter G6PD. If a person has G6PD deficiency, the firefighter is absent. So when a big fire starts, the free radical fire spreads and burns down the house, essentially destroying the red blood cell.
G6PD deficiency is caused by a mutation that weakens the G6PD produced by the body, and as a consequence, lessens its half-life. It is a recessive X-linked gene, meaning that it is a defect on the X chromosome. This implies that the deficiency would most likely manifest in boys who only have one copy of the X chromosome, while girls can be carriers of this deficiency because they have two copies of the X chromosome, with their other X chromosome having the working gene that if only one is defective. In normal cases, the free radicals would be broken down by glutathione and result in your normal, healthy red blood cells. However, aberrations show up when the glutathione is absent, and as mentioned earlier, hemolysis leads to the breaking down of red blood cells by free radicals, which would cause the buildup of yellow bilirubin.
Most organs develop normally in babies with G6PD deficiency because they are not markedly affected by the G6PD enzyme. The main difference is in the blood because red blood cells are particularly vulnerable to free radicals due to their active role in oxygen transport. Hemolysis will only occur if and when children with G6PD deficiency ingest or are exposed to triggers. Certain medicines can trigger hemolysis, like nitrofurantoin for urinary tract infections or UTIs, phenazopyridine for urinary pain, and some antimalarials. When this happens, babies can experience anemia, which means they have fewer healthy red blood cells. The brain also develops normally. However, in very severe jaundice, extremely high levels of bilirubin can reach the brain. This can show us problems with learning and movement, like as cerebral palsy or hearing loss. The longer and higher the bilirubin is in the brain, the more serious the potential damage. There's currently no cure for G6PD deficiency in babies, so care focuses on prevention and supportive measures. Babies with G6PD deficiency appear and remain healthy until they are exposed to triggers, which are found in certain drugs, foods, and beverages. As they grow, their food choices should be supervised carefully. They should avoid snacks like ding dong and Mr. Bean that contain fava beans, legumes such as bagu beans and mungo, foods with soy like taho, tokwa, and toyo, blueberries, and drinks like tonic water with ampalaya. Some milk formulas have tiny amounts of soy, but these are safe for your baby. Still, breastfeeding is the best choice because it is healthier for you and your baby. In this case, the mother must also avoid the sugar food while breastfeeding. Menthol must also be avoided. This can be found in products like effervescent oil, Listerine mouthwash, and mothballs. At the onset of a yellow discoloration in your child's skin, this is already considered a hemolytic crisis. Folic acid or vitamin B9 may be given by your physician to help produce healthy blood cells. This is why we inform our pediatrician if our child is diagnosed with G6PD deficiency to avoid triggering complications.
Newborn screening is a national public health program that allows the detection of early childhood diseases, one of which is G6PD deficiency. Blood spot screening requires a collecting of a tiny amount of blood from your baby's heel onto a special card to measure the amount of G6PD in your baby's blood. This is done between 24 to 48 hours after birth. Many people with G6PD deficiency can navigate through life without even realizing it until they come to face certain triggers. In adults, even red wine can be one of those triggers. It just means that we need to be a little bit more extra in caring for them, and with proper guidance, they can grow up as healthy kids.